All right. Now we're fully live. We back. Welcome to Dynasty the Podcast Show. I am your host, Ira Bush. I just want to say thank y'all for tuning in and locking in with the show. First and foremost, I want to start off by saying I appreciate y'all being consistent, tuning in. This is the 52nd show. Staying consistent like this will make things a lot bigger, a lot, things that we mention on here and speak will be more influential in a positive way, hopefully. And, we try to keep things, in order as far as telling the correct stories. So, man, just thank you. I'm so grateful. And just being able to speak and having a platform is, everybody don't be able to do that. So I always mention that. I'm very appreciative of that. Just to start off, we're going to talk. Basically, we always start off with basically talking about, what's going on as far as the community, what's going on around here. And then, which it is. So, yesterday I got a chance to stop by, we had practice for my basketball team. And it was a really good practice. We actually put a play in, a pick and roll, just to beat 3-2, cover 2. Just to break the 3-2 zone. So we put a play in for that. We went over that for after practice. We did great in our scrimmage. And it just, we play this team tomorrow. So, we beat them already. But, it looked like everybody kind of understanding that, it takes a lot of work and dedication to actually be good at something. You might have a good day where you making baskets and then, that might have been just your lucky day. But, if you put the time in, everything will eventually become normal, which means you're going to have several good days on top of good days. So, the practice went well. The kids are developing well, and I'm pretty sure I'm most likely we're going to win this basketball game if we come out, execute, and play great defense. And that's what that's what it's about. Just getting better every day and them winning their own battles inside the game. So that's what got to happen when you play team basketball and you contribute and you outscore the other team. So and then yesterday I got a chance to go by high school, see if I told them I was interested in coaching. So I'm putting that in the sky. Hopefully that comes and work out. Cause I'm really trying to get super focused on just like, when I was coaching football and the prep and the high school level, the high level, I had like, it was when the kids are the same amount of, you got to have the same type of believe that this is going to be successful, that this is going to amount to something great with them playing sports. Not everybody will make it to the highest peak, but you have to have that same mindset to win, to get better every day when you practice and to win the game. Win your game inside the game and then win the complete game as a team. So you got to know how to that you develop a skill to break down and compartmentalize. Like if I might have messed that word up, but like you know what I'm saying? Say separate and then bring together. So that's how you learn how to get better as a person in life. Is when you in the gym in the off season getting better, and then throughout the weeks of your season, you implement and you get better at what you already put on, and then you get more and more information, more and more technically sound in your position with the reps you take. So no, this is like the beginning stage officially. Some people been working out since February, March. That's the normal. That's what it takes because when you have an off season, it's only some programs is January. You can still go in there by yourself at the end of December because you're so used to the program throughout the week. You used to going to the gym 2 or 3 times a week during the football season just to keep your weight strength to where is that? You want to do, every 2 weeks, then max out 3 weeks, and you do that twice, 2 to 3 times a week, depending on how many of your, if you make the playoffs or not. So, you don't max out every week, but you got to put those reps in, not heavyweight, but like reps. And then you go ahead and, you've been hitting, you've been running, you already plateaued at another level when you're playing in a competitive nature. You don't even, it's a quick burst most of the time, but it's multiple times. There's no plays off in when you're on in between the white lines. So, this is why I'm saying, like, me going every day, with this is what it's basically what I'm saying. Like, I'm not trying to take no days off. I actually took, the facility that I'm doing this, which is it's not really a state of the art, or normal studio, but it has a studio mic. It has the surround cameras. I could post up my own on here, so it's a good. This is a station. This is a real area for this type of setting this type of show or speaking type of thing up for me. So that's all I'm saying. Like, it's been consistent. I have no issue other than when they have other stuff next door. So yeah, it's in that mode where everybody has to, like, this is the beginning. It started. We're in the middle of the beginning of the year, so just get you basically on track to be, get your children set up for school. It's the month to get set up, so you're prepared, so you won't be running to the store at the end looking for supplies, or go sign up for your free backpack giveaway. They're giving out supplies everywhere if you take the time to do the research. And don't be too prideful to get a free backpack. It'll save you. Some people have more than one child, and they have to stretch their money for food and gas and lights. So, they might work a decent job, but they might have 3 or 4 kids, 5 kids, and they got to make sure their ends are neat. And that's kind of how you got to be mindful. But some things look a certain way, but you also got to have, some people have responsibility. So don't be too prideful to get those free backpacks. It's not a big deal anymore. It's well known that a lot of areas do that in churches, community centers. So, make sure y'all paying attention to those events. Yeah, I talked about, practice going well. I expect us to really, I want to see I want to see multiple of my players score today, this game. We practice the play, we practice, being in control, taking your shots and learning spacing, understand post up position. They don't understand completely, but we talk about it and just say post up, put your forearm on them, get active. So I'm trying to make it as small of terminology or different terminology for them to understand that spacing and cutting and understanding angles and pick and roll and all this stuff like this. And it's harder to teach it when they're older. It's better to teach it when they're younger. So it's natural. And then they just like thinking, you're not hearing your coach say, do this, do this, do this, but they don't even understand exactly what you're doing. But it's good. I could demonstrate it what I'm talking about. So if you can demonstrate exactly what you want to do done, that would separate you from a good coach. You can't be intimidated by that moment either. So, yesterday was a good practice. And this game should prepare us for the next game, which is the team that's undefeated. So, and then I have to check into what's going on with the Little League football program that I was, going to put myself a part of as well. But they, the first thing they say on there when you walk in is like, don't complain. Your coach is a volunteer. Then it was like, you can't talk about it unless you're out here doing it, some stuff like that. So, they got a real like sense of, make sure you putting the hours in and you taking pride in just being out there for real. And don't complain if you're not able to, if you're not even putting in a little bit of effort. But that's what I was saying. Like went out there was nobody in the facility. I'm not expecting it the way it's set up. It's like they rent that space for the equipment, and they have plenty. They have an office space, and then in the front is another like secretary type space. A little setup how it is. Then you got that equipment room. It's not really like a spacious. Which I've been a part of programs like this. I came from how it was set up for us. It was similar to that with our original equipment manager that was in the neighborhood. It was like in a little like center. So I remember that. And I'm trying to put in the time before so I can prepare, make sure I'm going to be the head coach. I don't really want to be an assistant. If I'm assistant, then you got to take, direction from people that don't even have the same experience. And that's why I'm trying to be a head and let them know that I'm only being a head coach if I'm coaching Little League. So, yeah, that's basically what it is. Now, yeah, hopefully I get that done. They, return. I think I was talking about, I went to Inlet Grove yesterday, and I put to send that my stuff over to them. Hopefully they call me back soon. Now, let's talk about, I haven't not been paying attention in the last since the 4th of July week. So it's been about 4 or 5 days that I've been paying attention to the news as far as political. They got U.S. troops on the ground for LA immigration enforcement operation. Defense Department says, I don't know what they said. So I guess that is actually a bigger news than they wanted to be, or so forth, so on. Let's see what else they're talking about today. Mega bill will end effectively Medicaid as we know it. Okay, that's a straw man story. Trump received Nobel Prize nomination from Not Now. It's a great honor. Okay. Rubio imposter using AI voice to call officials. Who the hell did it? Trump announced a new tariff of up to 40% on a growing number of countries. Yeah, this man finna try this. Trump being awful weird makes him scary, but not person like he wishes. He can't do that. Horses, partisan politicals. Yeah. I told you what I do. They don't even got nothing up. I would report on that, but that's like, well, I'm gonna put it like this. Okay, y'all know about the bill being passed into law. So it's a lot. The people that I was paying attention during this period actually seem like they're really like from top to bottom. They're actually paying attention to what's going on and what needs to be changed, and what needs to be, But it's like their hands are tied. But in America, where they are at, it's not as hectic as the countries that are in turmoil right now. They got the reason why United States is a special place, like, well, most people consider it special, or, it's important. It has importance because of the people here and the people that have left their country to live here. It's a safe haven for them, even in the realm of the top, what they call the top, meaning they came over, got jobs, got, they're fluent people in this country. They might not be as big in their other country because of the amount of people, or what their purpose that they chose, whatever purpose they chose might be more important over here than it is in their country, and vice versa. So that's why this is a special place, and the people that's here. So I haven't seen the people in the Democrat or Republic, whatever. I haven't seen too much. I probably could search for more, but in main story, they running this. They got. I think having those soldiers in California, it's kind of a publicity stunt because it's right in Los Angeles. It's not really a stunt, but it's like it could be stopped. This is more propaganda. This is more trying to create an atmosphere. Something bigger is going on. Somebody's not, like, it's like a weak weasel behind everything. When they show you in Marvel, when it's like the lights, the dude who, even in that new Wicked movie, where they're like they were meeting this guy, they were following what they were doing, then they didn't have nothing for it, nothing. They're not worth nothing. They just got a bunch of gadgets and lights to make everything look all shiny and bright, but they really ain't worth nothing. So, and this has been the message for a lot of series of, in the Marvel and the Disney. They like telling the truth, but halfway, they putting makeup and covering it up with laughter. So, but it be very serious topics and things that they've done that is, messed up or incorrect. So, like I said, the three movies that come off the top is that Wicked movie. They do a lot with the they just dropped that Ironheart series that told a lot. That was actually a very, very, I didn't even like the end. The ending was just like so truthful. It's like, what y'all gonna do about it? So it's like when she wanted her she basically changed her suit into like a magic, introduced magic to her suit, so it could operate in different realms. But she had to make an agreement with basically what they're calling, they're not gonna call him the devil. They're just gonna be like, it's basically the dark side, the yin and the yang type of situation. But they making it seem like that person that's the yang, the yin, whichever one, the black, the dark side, they're not telling what they've actually done to get who they become. You know what I'm saying? It's like that fallen angel type of storyline. And it's like, why y'all making this person a big deal in the show and y'all ain't telling the truth? Why did it, it was something that it was selfishness, it was greed. That's why the main thing about these fallen angel stories, and it's all, and you listen to different types of religions and books, and then you go back to Christianity and all the examples of that in that book, in the Bible. And it basically it could be anybody's story. However, the highest, whatever high level you're actually at is how you can actually put yourself in certain situations that they talks about in the Bible. You can't just be standing around not doing nothing to even be considered. To be considered. Now, if you're doing something that, if you're a negative versus with negative and going with negative, you're not really an intricate part. You're in a part of a group or circle that is not original. So, you're just copying someone else. You're trying to live up to what somebody else did. Now, if you have a situation where you're operating from creativity, and somebody attacks what you've done, and you still outshine that negativity or that person that doesn't agree with how you made your light be as bright as it is, and you don't have to put when you don't pay attention or put energy into that situation, you really on the outcome, you always come out on top. And then, like, even if somebody's so dark with so much power has a big voice, if you don't pay them no mind, you will still be considered as one of the best and the greatest because they have an issue with you off the strength of who you are and how creative and how great you are. So, You know, that's that. That's why I like those movies, those shows. You know, the Ironheart one was more. You know, she was involved in just being the greatest scientist or engineer, basically. You know, scientific engineer, but she didn't want to have people tell her what to do. You know, that's how she started off with the drive to accomplish the things that Tony Stark and you know the other guy that you know they introduced into the show, who was Tony Stark's, well in the movie it was his backup dancer and sidekick, the Batman. He was Tony Stark Batman, and the other guy's Robin. You know, in the first Iron Man, he went evil, or second one I think it was. You know, he went evil, trying to create his own suit, and he kind of like, you know, Iron Man almost lost his life off of that because the suit was big, powerful, strong, but he didn't have the reason why Iron Man became Iron Man. He almost lost his life, you know, creating, you know, basically elite weaponry. You know, it wasn't for war in the beginning, like it's for actually science and, you know, technology advancement. So, you know, he was basically there during, you know, basically probably during the college and going into your career mode. You know, that's when they linked up and they was working for years, and Iron Man movie started. And it tells the story, not the past of their story. But, you know, in this Ironheart show, the son is in the show and he had a choice to help the good or the bad. And he actually, you know, they show him actually, you know, needing the help from the bad just to obtain freedom and to obtain our power upgrade from the naive, nice person that he was. You know, he had to get a little bit of dose of both. He ended up helping a little bit, but he really stayed true to being good. He just wanted to not be involved or get caught for studying, you know, what, you know, scientific advancement and engineering and, you know, and following along the steps of his dad of trying to break through in science and inventing something powerful and great. So, you know, you watch it, that was pretty good series as well. But besides that, okay, yeah, I probably was talking about that too much, but hopefully y'all check that out. I guess that's a review. If I gave it 1 out of 10 rating, I would give that 8.5. I didn't really. I'll give it an 8. I didn't like the dramatic. You know, I almost want to give it a 7.5, but it finished very strong, and it finished on a cliffhanger, kind of like, you know, there's going to be more to this story. So I would give it an 8. You know, I almost gave it a 7.5 because the theatrical of like, you know, it was like she was she was super smart as far as engineering and math, but her communication, her lack of lack of control of her emotions about her personal life, you know, which is normal for females, so I can't really judge it. It would relate to other females, but it's like for me, I'm giving it this because I'm a man and I judge it off, you know, the movie, the theatric of, you know, are you gonna be like iron hearted or are you gonna be a crybaby hearted? Like, you know, a whining hearted. Like that's right. It gave me those type of vibes to some of those scenes. And it was like, you know, some of the stuff she didn't have to put herself through, but it's part of the show. And like her defeating the guy, you know, she kind of had to go through it to actually get that suit that she got. I would have to say that. I guess that's what it's like. But when she figured out about, you know, the magic, she kind of like was like off focus with the, you know, the sister AI thing taking control when she went to sleep when she was doing her test on her suit. And then, it being like the mom like acting nonchalant the whole time after she found out, which is not bad because she introduced her the lady who knew how to operate in different realms. So it kind of like went together. So it was still on point, but it was still theatrical about like it's not real. It's just a they figured out how to do the light show with memory, and kind of they say it's bringing this person back to life, but they was they trying to say that that's what happened when you make the deal. What what they not showing in these movies, and this is what it's coming down to. For her to get a real body back and be herself, they have to actually have someone not be alive. You get what I'm saying? That you either have to, end someone's life, or somebody naturally have to have their life ended who didn't have any vital signs messed up. It's all kind of stuff that's dark and that is not talked about, and that is very unethical in a lot of places. So they not telling the parts. So don't get your head filled with that fairy tale stuff, because if they start doing it, they mean they doing something way darker, which is what I was saying about how they left it on a cliffhanger with her signing and agreeing with him just to get her friend back. So she had to give up something to gain what she was like caring for. So, and that's what magic was. That's what they said. You got to give up something, or you got to lose yourself, or something. Whatever they were saying in them when she agreed to even take the cloak and then infuse it with her suit. So it was a pretty good show. Y'all check that out. Yesterday I did not watch. I watched the BMF and the Shy last week's episode that just passed. I really did. When it come down to me liking it, I really enjoyed the I think they did a good job with the BMF story. I think they knew how to this season you couldn't really mess up, because you get so much truth. They can literally not talk to each other and laugh about what is written down, and they'd be so tight knit on the storytelling. And I feel like that's what's going on. They sped up the whole timeline. I think they're gonna let his son get a year or two of shine. He probably end up being in the show if they keep it running, or even branch off. But they gotta still stars just to have that brand, But this is one of the best stories. You gotta go through it to get to it. So him, the 20 years, it might be worth it or might not be worth it if he comes out and finishes his complete goal of living. Having more children, hopefully. When you're sitting, you want to live still more life. When he get off full paperwork of just being out of these people's custody, I think it's still gonna be great for him. His son is one of the biggest actors in the world. There's no one bigger than his son. The ties that he had, just earning his dad being that famous already, I think he executed it for it. Where his dad was signing for entertainment business, his son executed at the highest level. Actors, so you get a certain level, you are definitely bigger than that's his form of artistry. And it's a lot of the times people remember you for not even being you. They just know you by face. And that's what happens when you're an actor. They'll call you, you get a nickname, you become super cool. So, you get a nickname off a show, you know what I'm saying? And this is actually a story. This is his real name. This is somebody that's that close to him he's telling a story about. So this is like lit. It's really lit. It's the execution of the acting is it was nothing less than an A. You could give him an A+ for certain scenes, but he's definitely doing his job as well as the person playing his uncle slash brother. But yeah, the show lit, and I watch it. It's been consistent of just, and I love how they telling the story of when when they became BMF, but not call themselves BMF basically. So it's good. It's that good. The Shy, it's a little everywhere. I can't tell what's coming next. So they doing a good job with this show, having way more made up stories, but just basing it off the city, and then be putting a little extra into it to keep the entertainment level up, because there's a lot of true stories, high end stories that happen in Chicago that people don't know. The involvement of the streets. How they got all these famous rappers, and they basically was doing, I can't even describe, how they got their popularity of doing things when they were like very little young kids. And they don't people not even realizing a lot of their fathers went to prison on like the racketeering with the, having to do with, you know, um, with the guy that's in there, Larry Hoover, being in that area against the disciples that their grandfathers, great grandfathers were tied to that. Then the fathers didn't have a father, so they had to follow behind people serving 20 to life and be in the streets. And then they was left with their mom barely, their dad being a teenager in prison, and been multiple stories that never got told there. And they had money, they just had to be fighting the law, running around, ducking and diving and hiding. So those kids that, they started off in rough areas and they just got on the stage, executed as artists in the rap game, and they moved around from that city and they talk about it in their music. And it's one of those situations where that's to be a story in every state. And that was a little minute ago when I started making music. So, it's a new generation every 5 to 7 years. And you just gotta be on your P's and Q's with it. The females doing their thing right now. That's been going on for a long time. It's others. The men, they do a good job of passing the rock or sharing it. It's a lot of rappers that's young. So, that's music is in their hands. I don't watch. I look at it like I don't really listen, but I might see a new artist all the time on the music apps. So if you make the radio, I might not listen to you for a whole year or two. I might not even catch your album, but it ain't no disrespect. It's just like you got your own wave. You start getting yourself. I never been the one to like copy exactly what I hear, but I want to appreciate the artistry of it, or telling your story. Being free from that situation and being able to speak on it. So that's the good thing about rap. Hopefully that stuff could be, continue to be what it in its purest form, just a storytelling of a day, or sometimes a month, a year, depending on how well detailed you tell your story and how broad you tell your story in your own music. Now, we talked community, talk politics. Politics, I ain't really feeling it. The show's gonna probably be shorter. I ain't really on what they on right now, so we're gonna let them. We're gonna let that breathe. My biggest thing, far as talking to y'all about sports. I mean, or political. Damn, I moved sports. Political subjects. I would like people right now when I don't talk, just go speak and go do more research in details. I wish more people would be more involved than they used to with social media. I think everybody on, the streaming service, paid TikToks for, having a TikTok, you get paid for, people being on your live, or you could go on the streaming services or YouTube will pay you if you have a certain amount of subscriptions or get subscriptions. And, it's other ways to get paid besides giving it out free, or the podcast services, Spotify's, if you've got to deal with these people, they'll pay just for good content. Not saying mine is not great content at all. No, it's just I haven't tapped in. There's other, people have to get, you have to get sponsored. You got to get people to okay you in this realm, in this, okay, I guess you would say streaming industry, or, they won't, it's no monetary outcome if you don't get those established. Now, me giving out, me speaking and not having that type of backing yet, hopefully I will be able to get that. I'm pretty sure I will if I be consistent, or, find the right person to connect with to help me get that start set up. and get the type of listeners and viewers that I want. Not just no any hunky dory. Let's just be nosy. People that might get involved, like I was saying. Do the research on my past shows if you haven't listened or you listened before. Send me some information that I might know that I might have missed. But like I said, it's a lot going on. We shaking hands. We making deals with some more people this week. I don't want to really support and put these people on the mic if they ain't doing what they probably supposed to be doing, or they opening up too many avenues for people to infiltrate infiltrate what needs to be safety wise for the whole entire state country. Not trying to like say I actually live here, I have people here, so I don't want it to be exposed for someone's selfish reasons that call themselves commander in chief or the leader of a nation. That's anywhere in the world. So hopefully the people that support me is on the same type of mindset of being safe and fulfilling your duties as a person or wherever you chose to be in this world. And yeah, that's pretty much it, man. This is Dynasty the Podcast Show. I am your host, Ira Bush. I'm very thankful we haven't. Before I leave, let me look up the WNBA games. I might catch a game or two. Let's see what's out. I forgot. Today. Oh, that's what it was. I was forgetting. The Chicago and Washington WNBA game is playing now. They started at 11:30. So, it was on the little WNBA TV pass. I don't have that. Or the League Pass. And it's an afternoon game on a Tuesday. So it's a summertime. I actually think that's pretty cool. It's not like a holiday or nothing. I wish I had the WNBA League Pass. I would watch it. I think this is an interesting game. Angel Reese figure out a way to beat that three-headed monster on their front court. I think this will prove, could continue to prove that how elite she is as a player. That means her plus minus is getting better if she could defeat this type of lineup that she's going against currently. And yeah. Also today, probably the game of that everybody in the country will be considered the game of the day or evening will be the Las Vegas Aces and the New York Liberty game. That's 8:00 tonight. So, and it's pretty cool. They got another 11 a.m. game tomorrow. And 12:00 game. So it's a lot going on these last 2 days, in the morning, in the evening, in the early morning and early afternoon. So we're gonna see. I might try to catch one of them games tomorrow. So we're gonna see. And that's gonna be on Wednesday. It's gonna be a good 8:00 game, So we're gonna see how they pull it out. Chicago don't pull it 6 points. So yeah, it's gonna be, that's an interesting game. I ain't gonna babysit the score. Now for baseball, let's see what game. See how the Rays standings is. See if they in first. And these 3 teams almost tied for first place. They gotta let them skip. So we're gonna see. Standings. Yeah, the Rays is third place now. The Blue Jays actually are in first place, and they actually have a 3.5 game or 4 games. So yeah, the Rays and the Yankees pretty much went on they went on a little losing streak. They both 3-7 for in their last 10 games. The Toronto Blue Jays are 9-1. They're on a 9-game winning streak. So the Blue Jays, the Yankees, and the Rays are in a tight race for NL East. It's very tough in that. Everybody got very solid bats and really good pitching, and it's tough to even get in a 15 game plus minus with your win loss. So that's what the Toronto is right now. They're 15 games over 500, and the Rays are only 7 games over 500, and the Yankees are 8 games over 500. So they gotta pull it together if they want to stay in Boston, not too far behind the Yankees and the Rays. So they in striking distance, they over 500 as well. And the Orioles have beaten all those teams in the end of the division. So that's probably the toughest division in baseball this year. So yeah, the Rays got a lot going on, losing that many games in that tough conference. So let's see, wild card. They got the look. Let's see how it looks. Yeah, they still got the second wild card spot. So that is the plus. That is a plus. That's a plus. Seattle Mariners, the last one. It's tough. 3 teams from the AL East is currently in the playoffs if it starts today. And that's just how tough that division is. Well, hopefully, with that being and having that much experience playing against each other and fine tuning over the whole season, that it could be any team in the East. Everybody know the NL got usually have the strongest pitchers, and it's very tough to win. It's very tough to win at the top in the NL, so it's going to always be pretty even when you're in the playoffs and when you get to that World Series matchup, because they play each other throughout the season as well. So yeah, that's it for sports. I have much to say. I just want to say thank y'all for tuning in, and we're gonna end it officially for real now. So we went through a little baseball, a little WNBA. I didn't go over the NBA teams. I'm gonna get back to doing that. I didn't forget. I just wasn't focused on that. I need to probably get to the NFL. They they're only doing camps, so I'm not interested in getting any reports. I kind of want to wait till the preseason to start doing that. I really want to do the research on it until they really end the going towards the playoff, the first game of the preseason. We're not gonna report on the football because you gonna already know the game already gonna be dropped out. I think they finna put out NFL, Madden. I think it's usually like the second week of July or something like that for NCAA as well. So it's probably better to wait till they put that out because they already have a real understanding of who's gonna be on the team, the upgrades officially with even the guys that's not even considered yet that could kick somebody off the roster. It's updated, but it's gonna be good. So everything's finna happen. Football finna kick off. High level training for the fall games. It starts now. It's definitely gonna kick full force by next week. So that's it. I see y'all tomorrow. This is Dynasty the Podcast Show. I'm your host, Art Bush, and I'll see y'all later.